We're too old for this.
We are too old for this.
And I have cat fur all over me.
I don't think cat fur will show up.
You don't think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good Lord, how long has it been?
So this year we've been married 35 years.
Yep.
And the first 5 years we kind of bopped around between Michigan and another house here in Virginia and here. So it's been 30.
Thinking of where we're going to end up.
Yeah. So it's been 30 years.
Been 30 years. Yeah.
30 years.
Into the 31st year here.
No?
Yeah, because we closed on this in December of '93.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
That's when I started picking the.
Did you think we'd be done by now?
Yes. Yes.
I think we're halfway.
We're done with the inside.
Yep.
We chose to do the outside last for a very important reason. The tax man is not allowed to come in to look around. Yeah. So he assesses us on the outside. So I don't know how that works. Like, what if the tax man sees it on YouTube?
I think it works very well.
Yeah, so then he can see the inside?
No. Well, we haven't shown the inside yet. I guess we'll.
Yeah, but what if when we do?
I don't think they can use.
They can't use
YouTube,
footage like that?
They can't use YouTube against you.
You sure about that?
Yep.
Okay, so the inside is essentially done. We got some little nitpicky things, you know, moldings here and there we're still doing, but those are winter projects. The outside is what you get taxed on, and so we said, we're just letting the outside look like garbage until we get to it right before we retire. So this will be 7 years before I get to retire.
Yep. So you want to start a YouTube channel.
Which seems absolutely crazy stupid.
Well, there's like 30 years of past projects that we have some footage of, which we'll work in, but we're by no means done. So, I mean, there's a lot to come. So, you know, this old house is one of our favorite things to watch, right?
Yep.
So.
My favorite thing to watch.
That's true.
Usually he's already up and out.
So I thought it's so appropriate to kind of do a play on that and call this Damn House.
Well, we've been calling it This Damn House or Worse for a long time.
I think that anybody that has a forever home, especially a historic, semi-historic forever home, has got that love-hate relationship going, you know, where it's like you love it, but there's things
But I hate the money pit.
I hate the money pit, hate how long things take, hate how everything is non-standard and you got to do custom if you want to do it right, because we're not the paint it gray and make it look modern kind of couple.
No, and then it's always, oh, well, we're just going to do this. We're just going to paint the lead in place, and we're just gonna put the next color on it, and we're not going to side this.
Yep.
But then it's, oh, but this happened, and now we found a hole, or we found rot, or we found bug damage.
I just call that, there's the planned projects, and then there's the unplanned projects. So like the porch here was an unplanned project. And the porch is...
I don't know. It was planned about 20 years ago.
We knew we were going to do it at some point, but it became a necessity when the slabs, I mean, these things, I guess it had a wood porch maybe at one time.
I'm sure it did, yeah.
And then they did concrete, but the concrete was settling on both this and the side porch towards the house, and so we had water running, you know,
into the foundation.
Yeah, in towards the foundation, and that got to a point where, got to fix that.
Got to fix that. 20 years later.
20 years later.
We're like, we were told at the inspection 30 years ago we needed to probably do something about that. There was no easy fix. I was pregnant with our son. There was no easy money. There was no nothing.
Yeah. They were just a young couple in dreams.
Yeah, life happened and it just escalated from there.
Yep. So we're about 80% done with the porches. I mean, the porches are redone.
Yeah,
We
the
got
porch foundations are taken care of.
beautiful new concrete.
Billy did a beautiful job,
pitched-
as always.
Pitched correctly.
Yeah.
We're doing what we can do with the siding, because another thing was, what you see behind us is original siding on the new part of the house, which is 1897.
Right.
And we'll show you later how we found that out. But then in the 70s, they put Reynolds aluminum siding over top.
67, I think, is the picture we have.
Okay.
It's from 67.
Yeah, brand, cover it all up with aluminum.
Yeah.
And the aluminum is a wider, doesn't look authentic. I think this is a 6-inch reveal. Yeah, 6-inch reveal, and
That was 8.
aluminum is closer to 8. So we're going back to the original on the porches, and we're doing a highly researched vinyl replacement that matches the original siding lap on the rest of the house.
Right.
Because we're not, we want it to look authentic, but we don't want a house we have to
This is
paint
not a
every 10.
restoration.
It's not a restoration. It's a It's a conscientious renovation. How's
Right.
that?
With a nod to its history.
It's history, how it looked, trying to make it to where
Livable.
we're in. I'm in my 6th decade, so
I'm not.
yeah, she's not. She's my trophy wife, my much younger trophy wife.
Yeah, not much younger.
But we want to be able to finish our days here, hopefully with a finished house. And not have to be doing this forever. But we've got some things to finish up, and
Yeah.
we thought that there might be enough interest in seeing how it's done from a couple who do mostly everything themselves.
Mostly.
I love how in this old house they got a design team for
Yeah.
everything. So let's meet the design team. We have the interior designer. We have the landscape architect. We have the exterior designer.
Yeah.
We have the plumber.
Wait a minute. I'm also all grunt labor.
Yes.
So
Grunt labor.
whenever there's something to demo, it's on me.
Yeah. Demo crew.
Demo crew.
Asbestos abatement.
Yep.
Which we haven't really had any.
No,
of that.
we didn't have any of that.
I cover plumbing. I am the electrician. I am the framing contractor. I am the drywall installer, not the drywall finisher.
Yeah, we don't finish drywall. I tried that once.
We do have
Yeah.
people that we rely on for drywall finishing.
Yeah.
And for brick and block work,
It's Billy.
it's Billy. But you did some.
Yeah.
We'll show you that. You did
Oh
some.
my gosh, don't show
bricklayer.
them. No, no.
Add bricklayer to your list.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
And what else? I mean, structural engineer, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do it all.
I'm
pretty much.
painter. I paint
Painter.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
How can we forget that?
Yeah.
Painter. So.
And he almost does everything I say.
Well,
Almost.
I do everything you
don't.
say, or I do a version, an interpretation of everything that you say. How's that?
Yeah. I thought instead.
I think what she really wants is this.
No. I really want exactly what I drew, exactly what I asked. That's what I really want. Not, I think I'm going to do it this way.
And as a good husband, I try to do that or as close to that as I can come.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I do have physics that I've got to think about.
Yeah, no.
And so, physics may change things a little bit.
Nope. Our teamwork started that first year of marriage.
And I think we make a pretty good team.
We do, I think, most of the time.
Most of the
as
time.
long as you do what I say.
As long as I listen, we're a good team. And you're a good supervisor.
I'm a good sport.
And a good
when you don't listen,
a
I'm a good
supervisor
sport.
who does the grunt labor. What more can you ask for me?
Yep, I started picking those walls apart.
Ooh.
I
came home from work and there were holes in the walls. I was like, this is where we're starting, hon. Okay, we're committed
I
now.
couldn't help it. I was pregnant.
You're bored.
I was bored because I was still out because I had had an appendectomy while I was pregnant. And you couldn't do anything. There, my belly was growing, but I was still so mentally bored. And here we were living in this place, knowing there was so much work to be done.
I think I made the mistake of leaving a hammer out or something like that.
No, you didn't even.
You
No.
found a hammer.
Yeah, I found a hammer.
Boom, boom. What's in these walls?
Yeah, I did. And then the wallpaper was picked off because, that wasn't physical or anything.
Yeah, when we bought the house, 90% of the rooms were covered in that real thin Luan style paneling.
It wasn't 90, it was 100.
Oh, yeah,
100%.
And ceilings too. And we were like, why are all the walls covered with this stuff? And the realtor told us.
And we were so stupid we believed this.
Realtor told us, well, the plaster is intact, but it was
fixed before they put on the paneling. The paneling is not glued on, it's just tacked in places.
Yep.
Well, when you're touring, you're not allowed to start picking it off and seeing for yourself.
So we were like, okay, sounds unusual, but we bought it. And then when we started pulling this stuff off, the plaster was coming off with it in sheets, and there were cracks everywhere and missing wallpaper. And so we know it just was covered up because it was virtually unserviceable.
Yeah.
There was really no saving this plaster.
None.
And Plaster and Lath, we made the decision based on her investigative hole punching that it had to go. And so that made it kind of a room by room interior renovation because we could compartmentalize, gut it, and then walls were exposed. So we redid the wiring. When we did rooms with plumbing, we redid the plumbing, and we would end up with a finished room that was beautiful. 9.5-foot ceilings on the first floor, 9 foot on the second floor. And we just went through the house one room at a time.
Yep. Kind of one room at a time.
Or like downstairs, upstairs hallway where it was pretty much continuous.
Right, where we had to.
What are some of the things that we found?
Shoes.
Shoes, an arrowhead.
An arrowhead, buttons.
10,000-year-old arrowhead.
Ivory buttons.
Snakes.
Oh, gosh.
Bats.
Oh.
We had live.
And we're not even counting all the spiders.
Live snake, bats, more bats than I can encounter.
Yeah, there were like 3 or 4 throughout the years. Birds.
Mice, skeletons.
Squirrels.
Squirrels.
Well, those were mummified, but we did find squirrel bodies.
And as the house got buttoned up and tightened, and there's been less and less of that. Not eliminated, but less and less. Oh, ladybug. We forgot about ladybugs.
Oh my gosh, the ladybug infestation.
There were, and what was the story of the ladybugs were released or they got out? Or
No, they were meant to eat aphids.
Yeah,
Virginia had a lot of aphids,
and
so they introduced more ladybugs into the area for the aphids. But all they did was infiltrate all the houses.
All of the ladybugs and all of the ladybugs' descendants were in this house. They were in the library primarily. We could take the vacuum, and they have a distinctive smell. We could take the vacuum and we vacuum them off the windows.
Because when they die, they would stick. They stick.
And so we could go around the room, vacuum them off the windows and the walls, and when we got back to where we started, there were more. I mean, they come out of the little crevices and cracks.
Oh, what about the one time our son had a ladybug in his ear?
Oh, geez, yeah.
Oh.
As a pretty young kid.
Yeah,
And
that was horrible.
He could feel it tickling, and it was way
and we
in
were
there.
like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, I think there's something in there." And then we take him to the doctors and talk about feeling like horrible parents, absolutely horrible parents. And there's a ladybug.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so I guess we could say, welcome to This Damn House, our channel. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you find it entertaining. Hope you find it humorous. Hope you find some good tips and techniques that we've developed and used over the years.
Or you'll see mistakes that we're doing and you won't do them.
You'll see things that you'll say, I'm not going
to do that.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it that way.
And sometimes we'll be making the mistake and not even know it.
Yep.
So you can tell us about it in comments, but be nice.
Yep.
Always be nice, please.
There is a reason for why we do everything.
No, there isn't.
And a reason, yeah, there is, and the way we do it.
No. Sometimes we think it's just the best way, and then it ends up not being the best way.
But we don't just launch in.
No, I do all the research.
Yeah, she does all the research. Usually presents me with
Options.
She'll say things, blah blah blah. What about this? You know, and I'm like, my mind has not been on the problem, and so she's like already, you know, halfway down the road, and then presents me with what she's already thought about, and I'm like, I got to play catch up. So
That's how my brain thinks.
how her brain thinks. Yep. But enjoy. Welcome to the ride, the adventure.
Ta-da!
And you'll see this place over the next months and years transform into
Grow older with us.
It'll grow older, but it will be improving as we go downhill. We're gonna elevate the house, but we're gonna go downhill, I'm sure.
Yeah, sad but true. But we are looking towards staying in the home as long as we can. There are some things when we redid the porches, the side porch, which is our main entrance, we did ask Billy to make sure that it is wheelchair accessible. Any doors that we are replacing on the front and the side are 36-inch doors. I don't know, we are throwing around maybe cutting them down to 34. 34 is still wheelchair accessible, more of a pain, a little less maneuverability, but still accessible. So we are thinking ahead to that. I'm not sure my parents did in their home, and I know your parents didn't have a thought about that in theirs. And we are looking towards that. We have 40 acres with the old house. The old joke was that we bought the 40 acres and the house was free. And that's how we've always had to look at this, because we have so much money into the house.
Yep. Here's a nice piece of land, but you got to take the house with it.
But you got to take the house with it. And then, oh, by the way, since it's there, you can live in it, but you're going to have to do some work. So.
Yep. But I don't regret the decision very often.
I do.
You know, if someone asked me, would you do it all over again? I would say absolutely yes.
I would say I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Because I just am not sure.
Two things I did right. I married this woman.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with this house when we drove up the driveway.
You did. You did. As I'm pregnant and saying, the book always says, don't make major decisions when you're pregnant. Don't make major decisions.
Well, I wasn't pregnant, so I made the decision.
So exactly. But the couple sold it for less than they were asking, because they were, frankly, the first ones to find out I was pregnant.
Yeah. And they felt.
And we brought a cake.
Yep. And there was
brought a cake
there was
when
a
we met
sense
them.
of handing it over to someone who was
going to take care of it.
just starting their lives, and I think that factored in. I don't think that anybody else could have bought it for what we bought it for.
No, I don't think so either. I think it was meant to be. I brought a cake. We were living in an apartment at the time. I tried to bake the cake myself, but the oven didn't work at the apartment, and I didn't find out until I had the cake batter everywhere and I'm ready to put it in, and I'm like, Jim, why isn't the oven working? So we ended up buying something back when U-Crops was still around.
We brought a cake for the...
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that was interesting, because you're not supposed to meet the owners.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Virginia law or what. But,
no, that was federal. It's federal because of redlining.
But the couple, well, it wasn't a couple. It was.
Yeah, it was.
It was a couple.
It was his second wife.
Second wife. They said they wanted to meet the buyers, and the
only way they would sell.
The realtor made it happen, and they basically interviewed us.
Yeah.
So.
Found out I was a teacher.
Like
and
that.
They liked that he was an engineer, liked that. I was pregnant. They were the first ones to know. We had just taken the test that morning. And they were like, yep, we're going to work something out. Thank heavens they did.
And 30 years later, here we are.
Here we are. And the mortgage is almost paid.
Yeah, that mortgage is getting close to only 12 months from being paid.
Yeah, that's
So,
not bad. Yay.
Can't beat that.
Yep.
Well, thank you, hon. This has been fun.
Yep. Thank you. You've been my rock. Mwah.
You've been my rock, my trophy.
Yeah.
All right.
And mine too.
Bye for now. Enjoy.
Bye.